Hello everyone, welcome back to freepilotgroundschool.ca. This is the 7th lesson on Airframes engine and systems. In this lesson we will be discussing airframes. The airframe is that structural component of an aircraft that is responsible for holding everything else on. It holds the wings on, the landing gear connects to the airframe, as does the engine, the tail, and inside the airframe is where the passengers and the pilot and cargo is carried. So there are three main types of airframe construction. We're going to start with the monocoque construction. This monocoque construction is typical of World War I era aircraft. And the important thing to remember with monocoque is the skin is stressed over a series of formers and bulkheads, kind of similar to how a boat would be constructed. And that's why it was the early aircraft, because early aircraft kind of got their inspiration from boats. And in a monocoque construction, the skin is the integral part of the structure. Secondly, we have the truss type airframe. This is a series of webbed pieces of steel, usually steel tube, and they can be arranged in either a W shape, which is a Warren truss, or it can be an end girder. Here you see Piper Super Cub looks like. A lot of the aircrafts, light aircraft that were built around the Second World War were a truss type construction. And the important thing to remember in a truss type construction is the webbed structure is what holds the entirety of the load. The skin, which is often fabric in this type of construction, does not bear any load. So you can see here you have vertical members, longerons, those are the horizontal members. And then in between you have the diagonal members. They always kind of form rough triangles to distribute the loads. And in such an airframe, actually in all airframes, you have loads from the wing and landing gears a lot. And if you kind of follow the direction of the landing gear, where the landing gear meets the fuselage, there are usually diagonals there that then transfer the load from the landing up to, well, in this case, the wing, and then the rest of the fuselage. The third type and the most common in modern aircraft construction is the semi-monocoque construction. In this construction technique, there's a combination of structural posts and stringers. As you can see here in this exploded view of what looks like a Cessna aircraft, the structural posts where the wings connect to, they are stiff, and then there are a series of stringers that hold all these bulkheads in place, and then covering them is an aluminum skin. The skin is only partially load bearing. This aircraft would not work without, or the structure would not be sound if you replace the aluminum with, let's say, fabric, for example. Here's some pictures of how this construction technique looks like in a modern airliner. You can see a series of bulkheads, kind of hoops, stringers that go in between, and then the skin on the outside. Three types of airframe construction: the truss type, where the strength is in the frame, the monocoque, where the strength is in the skin, and a semi-monocoque, which is a combination of the two, and it's the most common construction in modern aircraft. A quick quiz question: what type of construction is made up of structural posts and stringers? A, semi-rigid. That's not correct because that's not any of them. B, semi-truss type. That's not one either. C, truss type. D, semi-monocoque. And hopefully you know that the correct answer, D, semi-monocoque. That concludes this lesson on airframes. We'll see you in our next lesson.